The big study guide video for quarter 2. So here we go. First skill, evaluating, being able to take a value and plug it in for x and do the math. So for this guy, I'm going to write f of -4. So this is the number that I'm plugging in. And then right here is where I plug in that -4. And then I do the work with my calculator, timesing that 3 times -4, and then taking that answer, subtracting 7. 3 times that -4 gives me -12. And then that -7 right there gives me f of -4 equals -19. That's that answer right there. All right, this guy is going to have you plug this in, but it's a D number, and it has you follow order of operations. So for this guy, I'm going to write C of 4. That's the number I'm plugging in for D right there. 25 plus 10 times that D number right here. For this problem, do not add. Make sure you times first. So I'm leaving that 25 alone and getting 40. And then right there, I could finally add those two. So that gives me C of 4 equals 25 plus 40 equals 65. All right, moving on. These problems, graphing using X and Y intercepts only. So here I go. First one is +3 on this Y axis. So that's right here. And then from there, I look at the number in front of X, which is this -3. Written as a fraction tells me from that blue point, I'm going right a grid and then going down 3. That's the only spot I'm going to put a point. Right 1, down 3. I am not going to go any more. Don't do any more. Only plot those two. And then get your line. Draw your line through it. Make sure your line is straight. And then make sure you have arrows on each side of the line, knowing that this is 0, 3. That's the y-intercept. And then this guy right here is 1, 0. That's the x-intercept. All right, this guy wants you to plot the solution point only. So be careful on this one. I start at -1. And then that number in front of x, which is this number right here, tells me that I'm going over 1, up 1 from that number. Right 1, up 1, 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 right 1, up 1. For my other guy, I'm starting at +1, and I'm going at 1. But this number in front of x, which is -1, tells me from there I'm going right 1, down 1, right 1, down 1, right 1, down 1, right 1, down 1. What we've been doing is writing the lines through those points and then writing that coordinate where they touch. This problem, you're doing the same thing, but you're only writing and plotting that point where they touch. So if I look at this guy, they touch right here. If I could get my line a little better. They touch right here at 1, 0. So they want you to take away all that stuff and only plot that coordinate, which is 1, 0. So for this one to get full credit, I'm going to take away all this. You want to get rid of all these points. You don't want any of these points on here. So this one, again, a little tricky. They only want that point where they touch. All right, so again, for this one, that would be 1, 0 right here. All right, moving on. This guy, where is the graph increasing and this one wants you to choose best answers. So if I look, here's where it's increasing, and then right here. And then you can see for this one, even though the inequalities don't have that little line under there, I'm looking for the best one. So this one from -7 to 5, I can see is this one right here between -7 and 5 going uphill. And then the other stretch from -5 to this -2, they're going to break it up into 2 stretches. Those are my best answers going uphill from left to right. If I go decreasing is going downhill from left to right using those same X numbers. So from -2 to this 0, 1 right here, that's 0. So -2 to 0, that's one stretch. It's going downhill. Another stretch from 4 to this 7, another stretch where it's going downhill. Those are my best 2 answers. And then for this guy, a maximum of right 2 up 7 would be right here, so no good. A maximum of left 2 up 7, that one looks like the money one. If I do minimum of 6, 7, that's right here, so that's no good. And then -6, 7 is right here, so that one's no good as well. All right, here we go. Interval notation, domain. Domain is measured from left to right. So this left number all the way to the right, which is positive infinity. So you can see you're going to have to count. So -1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That is -5. So my domain square bracket from -5 to rounded infinity, positive. All right, my range is from bottom to top. So my bottommost number, this is going down to -infinity. So that would be -infinity rounded. And then here's my top number, 1, 2, 3, 4 on the y-axis, square bracket. All right, moving on. Solving, here we go. Distributing, combining like terms. So this gives me -10x plus 15 plus 3x equals -2x plus 5. Now I'm going to combine like terms. So if I combine that -10 and 3, that gives me -7x plus that 15 equals -2x plus 5. And then here comes left, right, left. Get rid of that plain number on the left side by adding or subtracting it. Bring down the -7x. Bring down the -2x. This gives me -10. Now stay on this side and do the opposite of this -2x. So the opposite of this -2x would be to plus 2x. These go away. That gives me -5x. And then right here, I'm going to divide by -5. And that will give me x equals +2. All right, here we go. Solving the inequality. I'm going to add or subtract this number. Bring down the 2x. Make sure you don't put an equal in there. Don't put an equal. So that's 2x less than 20. And now I'm dividing by 2. And that will give me all numbers less than 10. So some numbers less than 10 would be like 6, 7, 8. Those are all good numbers less than 10. All right, this guy. Solve for this h. So the first thing I would do is flip this around. So that's 6h plus 60 equals p. I'm going to minus 60 on both sides. That will make these go away. That gives me 6h equals p minus 60. And then right there, dividing everything by 6. We'll make these go away. That gives me h equals capital P over 6 minus 10. When I simplify negative 60 divided by 6, simplify that. All right, moving on. This guy, looking for all the numbers that are functions. So again, this one says which ones are functions where the x number does not repeat. So this guy, all my x numbers are different. That's a function. This guy has my x number repeat and spit out 2 different y numbers. That's no good if you remember. This one, all my x numbers are different. That one is good. If I look at this one, all my x numbers are different. That one is good as well. So the only one that's not is the second one. And so I need to say the second one because an x number 2 gives 2 different y numbers. So let me write those coordinates. So 2, 6, and then the other one is 2, 5. Cannot have that. All right, here we go for this one. Which one is not a function? So again, looking at my x numbers, none of those repeat. That one's money. Looking at this guy, none of my x numbers have double arrows shooting out of them. That's money. This guy right here has 2 x numbers spitting out 2 different y numbers. You cannot have that. So you need to write which is not a function. The table is not a function. Because 2 gives 2 different numbers. All right, and that is 2, 5, and then the other one is 2, 4. Can't have that. All right, here we go. Moving on. Number 12, this one says domain. Domain are the x numbers. So I'm looking at 1 and 3 and 5 and 6. List them. The x numbers for these coordinates right here. All right, here we go. Domain from positive to solid to positive infinity to the right. So this guy, because of this, no good. This one right here is really 0 infinity. This one's no good. This one right here, starting at 2, that is square bracket going to the right. So this one right here, this one is good. All right, this one is going from negative infinity to 2 square. That's no good. This one here is rounded 0 infinity. That's no good. Here's the other one. This one starting at 2, and even though this is going down, this is going to positive infinity to the right. So that's why this is positive infinity. That one is the sneaky one that not many people choose because they think it's going down negative infinity. All right, moving on. 14, here we go. Select 3 words. So again, this graph is continuous. For a graph to be discrete, discrete is dots. All right, decreasing. Decreasing would be going downhill like this. That would be decreasing. Exponential is good. Exponential is when it's curvy. Increasing, good, because this is increasing. And then linear is no good. Linear would be straight line. So linear is straight. Continuous is no dots. Discrete is dots. All right, so those three words. Here we go. This guy, looking at it from negative 56, I can see clearly that I'm not multiplying. So this is this plusing one. This is arithmetic. And if you look on this one, I think what I'm adding right there, if I do 59, take away that 39, looks like I'm adding 20 each time. Or maybe, whatever. All right, next one. This one looks like I'm dividing by 2. So this one's going to be geometric. All right, here we go. Moving on. 16. If I see a percent, if you remember, anytime I see a percent, that's exponential. So any problems with percents, exponential. So those go in here. So 1 and 2, because they have a percent, exponential. This guy right here, there's no percent. It's going up by 1/3 each time. That one makes 3 linear straight line. All right, the other ones, you got to do a little bit of work. So this 5, it says 1 to 5, 2 to 8, 3 to 12. I just got to see if these numbers are going up by the same. If these are going up by the same number, that would be linear. But since these are different numbers right there, this would be a neither, because it's not linear or have a percent. And then the last one, you got to do work. I got to take 40 and on my calculator divided by 2 hours. That gives me $20 for every 1 hour. I take a look at these guys, and if I divide those and I get the same number, that means it is linear as well. So if you look, that one makes that linear. All right, take this to your tutor. Hopefully this can help you out a little bit. Good luck.